Madam Attorney General, welcome to the committee.
Good morning.
Thank you for the job you do for our country. Have you ever discussed the Clinton email investigation with President Obama or anyone at the White House?
No, sir, I have not.
Okay. Do you anticipate that happening?
No, sir, I do not.
So when Josh Earnest speaks about the investigation and talks about basically to reassure the American people that this is no big deal, do you know where he gets that information from?
Senator, no, I do not. But I can assure you
Would
that
you tell
neither,
him he should probably just stay silent?
that certainly it's my hope that when it comes to ongoing investigations that we all would stay silent. I can assure you that neither I nor anyone from the department has briefed Mr. Earnest or anyone at the White House about this matter or other law enforcement
He's
matters.
just operating sort of on his own, I take it.
I'm simply not aware of the source of his information.
Thank you very much. Have you seen more threats to the homeland more than today in the past? Do you agree with me? There are more threats to our homeland today than they've been at any time in recent memory.
Certainly, I think those threats have increased. Yes, sir.
Okay. Sequestration. If we go back to the sequestration path and next year, what damage will it do to your ability to protect this nation in your lane?
Sir, sequestration would cause significant harm to the department's ability to protect the American people in areas of national security as well as our other law enforcement functions.
You'll have less FBI agents dealing with counterterrorism, is that correct?
We would.
You'll have less capability to deal with the growing cyber threats.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. When it comes to the problem with Apple and San Bernardino, would you support legislation requiring Apple and other technology companies to create technological backdoors made available to the government in terrorism cases? Would you support legislation to do that?
Certainly, we would review whatever was proposed and work with this committee or others to talk about the issues and to make sure that whatever was crafted would cover the range of issues that arise. The reason why we have focused on litigation and a case-by-case basis is because, as we've noted, every platform is different, every issue is different, and we have been trying to deal with this situation with our discussions with the tech companies.
Would you be willing to draft legislation, provide to the committee your ideas of what legislation should look like to accomplish the goals you?
You know, Senator, I don't think the department's at this point where we are drafting legislation here, but as I indicated, again, we're happy to work with you and others on the committee as you consider proposals.
If China went to Apple in China and said, we want a backdoor key to all iPhones in China, what would your response be?
Well, certainly I think the company would have a strong response there.
Would you support Apple's request to say no to China?
Well, we are not asking for a backdoor here, so I certainly do not see us supporting backdoors elsewhere.
About. It seems to be that the judicial decision basically is requiring Apple to create technological devices or to create a system that would be able to get into the phones, their own phones. That's not true?
Well, what we're asking Apple to do is to essentially effectuate a system that would remove the password blocker. The password blocker destroys
That's not
information.
A key to unlock the phone?
No, we would have to find our own way into the phone. Essentially, the password blocker destroys the information on the device if you guess the password incorrectly 10 times. We would like the opportunity for us to try and do that.
Would you support the Chinese government's request to do the same thing?
You know, I don't think that I'd be opining on the Chinese government's requests.
The point I'm making is if we ask companies here, are we setting a precedent for Russia, China, and other countries?
Senator, I think that one of the issues raised by that question, and I thank you for raising it, is that it creates really a false equivalency with our legal systems, with other countries, with our moral systems, with the way in which we do business, with our other countries.
Well, we're the good guys and they're the bad guys.
Well, we have a system of laws that have worked for a number of years.
No, I agree we're the good guys and they're the bad guys.
With corporate America, to allow them to provide information to us from a variety of ways, systems, and devices, and protect privacy at the same time, that have not led to the parade of horribles that's often described whenever those particular changes are made.
One of the arguments Apple makes is if other there are other companies that create encryption. So from a terrorist point of view, you're not limited to Apple iPhones to communicate, are you?
I think that terrorists use any device they can to
So this
communicate.
encryption issue, if you required Apple to unlock that phone, that doesn't deny terrorists the ability to communicate privately, does it? There are other ways they can do this?
We have certainly seen terrorists using a variety of encrypted platforms.
The point to the committee
for
is
communication.
fixing, getting the information in this particular phone doesn't protect terrorists from using encrypted devices because they exist beyond Apple. In terms of Apple's point of view, do you think their argument that if you require us to do this, that it will hurt their market share, that it would put them at a disadvantage to other companies that produce products outside the United States?
I haven't seen Apple's marketing analysis for that, so I'm not sure, I'm not able
Does
to
it make
quantify
sense?
that.
Some company in Switzerland said, hey, you can buy our iPhone, we're not going to ever, you don't have to worry about the American government or any other government being able to break the encryption.
Again, I think it would depend upon how people viewed that and how they rated it as an important feature and how it compared to Apple's devices.
So we're balancing the information we're trying to get in this individual case against a precedent we may be setting that other countries could follow. And we're also have to balance the idea that the terrorists can use encryption outside of Apple, and we also have to balance the idea that we may be hurting American companies who are competing globally. Are those sort of the four things that we're looking at?
Senator, I'm not going to cabin the issues at this time because I think that for us, the issue is about a criminal investigation into a terrorist act and the need to obtain evidence.
But it's just not so simple, and I'll end with this. I thought it was that simple. I was all with you until I actually started getting briefed by people in the intel community, and I will say I'm a person who's been moved by the arguments of the precedent we set and the damage we may be doing to our own national security. So I have definitely moved to any member of the committee who feels very passionate about this, introduce some legislation requiring the Apple, the technology companies to do what you want the judges to do. I'd like to look at it. And it's just not enough to complain. If you think these companies should be required to do this, let's sit down and see if you can introduce legislation. I doubt if many people will do that. Thank you for your fine work on behalf of our country.
Thank you, sir.
Senator Blumenthal.